There's something I noticed in the axe world that I wanted to talk about here. Um, it's kind of about how people protect. They're a little too protective of their axe. The only thing you really have to protect is the wooden handle. When it comes to wood on metal, the metal's gonna win usually, almost every time. I mean, even if a tree fell on the axe would probably be more than fine. It's not a chainsaw. It's pretty good with that kind of stuff. But when it comes to wood on wood, you can absolutely mess that axe up. Let me show you. Or, well, you can absolutely mess that handle up. This is my dedicated splitter, and this is about as hard as wood gets. It's hickory, but I abuse it. I abuse the handle, and sometimes it kind of gets hit. This might be an overstrike, but more than likely when it's on the side, it's not an overstrike. It's just the wood scraping against the wood. So firewood scraping against your handle. And that's something we try to protect from by doing the flick or not reaching over. We don't reach over. When we do that final splitting swing, we go here, and that makes sure that the handle doesn't go through timber. But another way to protect your handle is to make sure that it's thinner than the metal. So this is a little thick. Now I want to do a little demonstration here. And I'll show you another handle after this, because it's also going to be wood dependent. So here's some really crappy quality white oak lumber that I hung. This axe got wet, so that's why you see that black line. That's why you see that black line there, because it got wet, and white oak really reacts with metal when they're wet together. So this was bad lumber, and as you can see, the handle just broke in the eye. And look how there's really no damage. And I'm gonna just hit it a couple times on that round right there. Let's see what happens. Normal swing velocity. And this is the bark. This is softer. That one wasn't the bark, but this bark is going to be softer. It's going to have some give. So let's hit it right here. Oh, that sounded like it broke it. One more. It did break it. That was pretty cool. Okay, so do I gotta explain now that wood affects wood much more than wood affects metal? I didn't even get to show you the dent, but you could see one of the dents right here. So just a few errant swings can break a lesser quality handle lumber. This is pretty bad. This is about the worst white oak lumber I've used. But there's also other lumbers that are very soft, and what I like to say is they're not, or well, one of the areas of handle strength I like to talk about is dent resistance and abrasion resistance. And I don't hear people talk about abrasion resistance, but you know, dent resistance is kind of a big deal when it comes to hickory, and people kind of talk about that. So this is red elm. And you can see the scratches on it just from scraping a little bit. There's no overstrikes, but red elm is very soft, so you have to be super careful with it. When it comes to hickory, it's going to be the king. It's flexible enough. Hickory is dent and abrasion resistance enough. It's really good stuff. It's hard to beat, and because it's dense, and because this is actually a misconception, hickory isn't super flexible, but because it's so hard and dense, you can thin it tremendously, and then it'll be good with whip, you know, that kind of bend you want in your handle. And maybe, you know, someone I just talked to said that their white oak handle felt stiff or something, and maybe it wasn't thin enough. So something to consider. Here's a Tasmanian pattern, a high test what is it, Craftsman? High test Craftsman that I was going to make for someone. I put it on this handle that was a template handle. It's a vintage Craftsman handle. That's actually kind of cool. Craftsman handle, Craftsman head, different manufacturers, but yeah, he ended up not buying it, so I just have kept it on here. Let's do a couple swings with it. That doesn't sound too good. Ooh. Oh man. Okay. Gotta be careful with this. Really don't want to break this really nice handle, because this is a handle match candidate. Very nice. I'll show you the profile. More of an all-rounder axe. Yeah, that's got some thickness, but it's also got some thinness, so you can do a lot with that. I'm also going to show you how you can split with something really small. So if the thickness is there, which it is, I just found out a couple weeks ago that this American axe, see if I can show you without cutting myself. This American axe slash True Temper is a full-size axe that is just insanely worn. Insanely worn, so now it's kind of thick. So watch this. It weighs 2 pounds, 2.11 pounds. Super light. But because it's so thick, it still splits. A little scared of twisting with this handle. Oh, there's a knot in the middle. I mean, look at this. Really nice. Whoops. That's crazy. Yeah, that's about as light as an axe gets for you to split a round that's over 20-inch diameter. Very impressive axe. You can see why I've used it so much. I even have chopped with it, but just doesn't have much hardened steel left. So yeah, all in all, you know, we protect our handle. We, up to a certain extent, we abuse the axe head. The axe head can take a lot. Now, you don't want to hit rocks, you don't want to hit metal, but wood, that's what this baby was made to do. Smash it into wood. And yeah, there's some limitations. Sometimes you hit a knot when you're cross cutting and it can chip or it can break. Usually that's a manufacturing error, but if it isn't, if it's frozen, you know, that's the nature of things. Sometimes the metal loses, but it's rare. And you know, if you know what you're doing, you're unlikely to meet that scenario where you break it without either without you being at fault. That's all I wanted to show you guys today.